What's up, man? How's it going?
Trevor, it's so good to see you, man. It's been
We
a
are
long
back.
time.
We are
Seems like
back.
forever.
It does. It feels like what has it been like 2 years now, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Roughly, I think we slowed down going into like the 2022 Super Bowl. So the last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl but didn't win. But things have changed since. So I just gotta,
Yeah.
toot the horn a little bit there. Go birds.
Go birds.
But yeah, we're excited to be back. We're excited to bring some football talk to the sound waves every week again. So tonight we're planning on talking a little bit about the 2025 free agency and the frenzy that is currently with all
Yeah,
the
what a
change ups,
time to come back with so much news and action going on right now
right?
around the league.
Right. And one thing to remind everybody, we're driven off of comments. That's what makes the extra point the extra point. So if you have opinions, you have takes, you have things you want to discuss, throw it in the chat. We will gladly talk about it with you. But without further ado, let's get to it. So, what do you think? What's your biggest free agency movement, or what's the biggest signing you think to date so far?
I mean, I think everybody's opinion on their biggest like and dislike is going to be based around their team. But I think it's only fitting that we start with the Super Bowl teams, and none other than our defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's start there. I mean,
So
we lose Sweat.
the big thing for me is moving on from a lot of depth. And like we talked
Mhm.
about this earlier, I think when you look at the Eagles, obviously there was going to have to be some type of cap casualty just based off what you had to, what you had moved. And now just looking at the players that had left their team so far, Josh Sweat, he's a 4-year, $76 million deal. Isaiah Rodgers, 1 year, 11 million, or 2 years, 11 million. I apologize. Slay, 1 year's 10 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. Oren Burks, that's a 5 million deal for a depth linebacker and a predominant special teams guy. You think about it, like Kenneth Gainwell still hasn't been signed yet. It looks like he's going to the Steelers, but I'm not seeing any money there yet, so I don't think that deal's been finalized.
It has
But
not.
think all the cap space you saved by doing that, right? Letting those guys walk.
Yeah, and they didn't let any like superstar starters leave. I mean, of course, we have Gardner Johnson out of the building, and he was a
Mhm.
part of a trade with the Texans.
Yep.
And of course, Sweat went to the Cardinals on, like you said, a 4-year deal, 76 million. But those are basically our two starters that we left out. You could argue Slay, but I mean, I think he was kind of on the back burner with DeJean stepping in there
Yep.
and Mitchell. So
Yeah.
we pretty much lost some depth players, which you can backfill in the draft and in free agency.
And Howie, I've learned, you trust in Howie. Don't debate what he's
I,
doing. Just
I
let it
think we
be.
had this debate before.
So actually, just to go back in time a little bit, I was a heavy critic of Howie. Just kind of around like 2020, 2021. I really thought that one, Hertz was overrated. I thought that he was an overstep in drafting him in the second round. And I didn't have that confidence. Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. Howie built that. Since I've stuffed my foot in my mouth. In Howie we trust. I will follow that till the end. But I think Chauncey Gardner Johnson, moving him was a good thing in my eyes because there's going to be a decline eventually. And yes, he gives you that spark, but I really think that, in order to retool and move forward, the way the Eagles have been, you have to bring in youth. This is giving them the opportunity to bring somebody in on either a prove it deal or even draft somebody that's going to fill that role. Not to mention you have Sidney Brown there, and Kaylee Ringo could also bump back and play safety. He's a
Well,
big corner.
and this was a Howie move. It had Howie written all over it. So he didn't just like. It's not like we wanted to get CJ out of the building.
Right.
It was part of a strategy here.
Yep.
We're not signing back Mekhi Becton.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it
they're
looks
letting
the
him
writing on the
walk.
walls. He's moving.
Right. So we get in Kenyon Green, who was what year was that he got drafted? Was it 2 years ago?
Kenyon Green was drafted in, let me look here, 2022. And
He was one
so
of the top guards in the draft, correct?
yes, and he played a lot of games between 21 and 23. Well, I should say in last year, but he was hurt for most of the 22-23 season. He was the lowest graded defender, or yeah, defender, lowest graded blocker on PFF for
Right.
Pro Football Focus, but the entire Texans O line was a dumpster fire.
So I think the Eagles spot talent there, and they think that they can turn him into something that he wasn't with the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
And
this is
you're
part of a
clearing cap
strategy.
space.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, hey, we like this guy. The Texans are interested in our safety. Let's make the move here.
You
So
also have
I'm okay
insulation
with
there
it.
for 2 years. He's on the record for 2 years. He's an undrafted free agent, or yeah, undeclared free agent in 2027. So
Right.
you have room there. You have time. Tyler Steen's also there, and that doesn't mean that they can't make a move. You find a veteran on the minimum, just like you did Mekhi Becton. It can happen. What I did like to see was they moved off of Kenny Pickett, traded him out for Dorian Thompson Robinson, and they
Yeah,
saved
I don't
about a
think any
million in cap.
I don't think any Eagles fans mad about that. I mean, if you watch the few plays that he did play, we
Now,
weren't missing anything. We actually might have upgraded, to be
I
honest.
think unless they make a move here, I think McKee is probably going to be your number two, at least going into camp. Obviously, Thompson Robinson's a very dynamic quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what direction they go with that and what type of offense they employ next year, and whether or not that'll fit somebody who's a little more mobile.
So to sum up the Eagles, I mean, for me, it's look, Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and Gardner Johnson, they're going to hurt the Eagles. No doubt having those guys around with the talent that they have and the
Right.
experience. I mean, of course, we want to keep them guys. It's just not, you can't keep everybody. So Milton Williams, he's arguably he's a rotational D tackle. The Eagles just couldn't afford him anymore. He got
Yep.
a 4-year, $104 million contract with the Patriots. So it's like the dude got paid. Good for him.
And I'll be honest with you, depth is a lot easier to replace than a guy like Zach Bond. Depth is a lot easier to move on from than insulating a contract with like Barkley, so to speak, or like last year paying all your offensive line. It comes with look at the long term versus the short term. You're going to be able to find guys that plug that depth.
Let's
And
talk about the Zach Bond thing. So,
yeah,
what's your opinion on that?
so I actually think it was a really good move. I think Zach Bond has a nose for the football. You watch him play. You watch how he plays the game. He's thriving in that system with Vic Fangio's built, and I
Mhm.
also think he's even better when Nakobe Dean's on the field. It's just one of those it's a comfort over he knows that he could go somewhere else, and there's the potential that he may not pan out because he's not in the same system. I mean, he went from being an edge rusher, a
Special teamer on the
right.
Saints.
He was actually a defensive end at one
Right.
time, and like an edge rushing outside linebacker, and then they moved him back to middle linebacker, and it just you could see it in the first game of the year, even against the Packers. I believe he had 13 tackles in that game.
So here's my take on Zach Bond. Listen, I love keeping him in the building. I don't necessarily like that he is the highest paid linebacker in the league at 17 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that just because, like we're saying, he had a great year, big part of the Eagles Super Bowl win. Super Bowl, like the whole season overall, he was a big part of getting them there and winning that. But to make him the highest paid linebacker at 17 million a year, I don't know about that.
Yep. I think that the way you left to look at it is what's the word I'm looking for? I think he's just getting
They
started.
rewarded him for this season.
I think he's just getting started. I'm not saying that his window's huge, but I think we probably get your 2 to 3 years of solid, maybe all pro caliber or slightly under football.
And I'm glad you said that because the Eagles' window is the next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
They have their core guys till about 2029 season. And after that, it's pretty much, back to the drawing board.
I'm trying to look
I
here.
shouldn't say that because Howie's a magician and never really actually has a true rebuild year. But the
Mhm.
next 3 years, we're gonna we'll lose Barkley and AJ Brown and the key guys. But
So that's actually a question I have for you. Do you think they'll move off of AJ Brown anytime soon?
not till his
Like
contract's up.
you think they'll hold on to him and not trade him to free up that cap space next year? There's been rumors about that, and I'm kind of curious.
No, and I think the media just likes to be the media. And I
Mhm.
think they proved that all year. Oh, Hurts and AJ Brown are fighting and this, that, and the other. Look, everybody has disagreements. when it boiled down to it, it was two guys that are very competitive and passionate for their team, and
Yep.
they just wanted to win, and they proved that.
So I honestly also think that we're going to move on from uh, Dallas Goddard as well. Dallas Goddard's going to be a move where they save cap space, and I think we target a tight end. I also think
I
that
think it's
Grant
about 12
Calcaterra has
mil a
been
year,
okay.
right?
I'm
Something
looking
like that.
here.
11 or
No, it's
12 mil.
actually less. His base salary in 2025 is going to be 1.25 million.
Well, for Goddard,
But let me look here.
maybe there's a
Yeah.
bonus attached to that
Oh
because I
no, the
know.
cap hit is 12. You're right. The cap
Okay,
hit's 12. The dead cap space is 11 though. They're going to carry 11,000 in dead cap if they don't trade him this year, so I think that you're kind of going to have to at this point. So, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I like I said I trust in Howie. I don't want to spin my tires too much with the Eagles, but I think everybody's kind of panicking a little prematurely in terms of like what they're cutting off right now. You have to trim fat after a Super Bowl, but it's how you do it and fill in for next year.
I'm okay with all the moves. Like I said, Gardner Johnson kind of hurt a little bit, but we got
Yeah,
a return on that. Like we got a position that we need. It's not like we just lost. Like we gained another position,
right.
and I think we even moved up in the draft a little bit. Like we swap picks or whatever. So it's not terrible.
So if we're talking about like Milton Williams, for instance, I want to talk about the Patriots. The Patriots probably I think have had the best, like sneakiest free agency period out of all these teams. But just looking at it, like Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Morgan Moses, Matt Collins, Josh Dobbs, Kyrus Tonga, and Jalen Hawkins. They've completely revamped that defense and added depth and retooled. And I thought that was actually one of their weak spots outside of their offense. Their offense wasn't horrible last year, but what do you
We
think?
let's address Tim. I see
Okay, here.
Tim commented here. He said, "What do you guys feel is the biggest need this offseason and draft?" I'm assuming that was when we were talking about the Eagles.
Yep.
Um,
The biggest need in the offseason, I think, is probably going to be figuring out what you do at right guard. Like you're going to lose Becton, who's I don't want to say he's a Pro Bowl caliber player, but he was this past year. So your bread and butter's running the ball. I think that and the safety
I
situation are
think I
probably.
think Kenyon Green kind of addresses that, and like you said, we have Steen there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's going to be another edge rusher, and I'm going to say and a safety. And the reason I say that, obviously, Brandon Graham looks like he's going to retire, and then we just lost Sweat, so we're going to need someone to fill those shoes. And then obviously Gardner Johnson's gone.
Well, not to mention you have to draft a defensive tackle.
Yeah, we
So
want that rotation. Yep,
right. Well, not
keep
to
that
mention,
depth.
so the Eagles actually employ 3 down linemen now. So you have Jordan Davis as the nose guard, and then you have Jalen Carter and another who was Milton Williams playing a
Right.
high percentage of snaps. I know they said Milton Williams only played 40%, but that's kind of like deflated a little bit with the fact that they rotate so much. You also have Moro Ajomo, so I think that they're kind of banking on him filling in a role,
Yeah.
but they definitely have to go get an edge rusher. I agree with you 100%. Bryce Huff's not it. You have Nolan Smith and you have Jalix Hunt, but where's your depth outside
Right.
of that?
Yep. I agree with that. I think that's the biggest need. I mean, safety, don't get me wrong, they definitely need a safety,
Mm-hmm.
but the Eagles got picks. And the Eagles are going to make moves. They'll probably move up again. Like
Yep.
they'll make a money move somewhere or a trade or. And listen, we talked about this before the show. Ravens couldn't sign Marcus Williams back.
You could go get a depth guy like
Go out and
that.
get him. You
Yep.
just cleared all this cap. You got some money to spend, not a ton. They could bring him in for 2 years. And
Yep.
look, who doesn't want to play for the Super Bowl champs? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people are going to come in. Hey, we have a chance to win. Like, yeah,
They've
I'll
done
take a
a
little
good
bit of a
job
pay
of
cut.
the last couple of years. They've done a good job of bringing in veteran depth. I mean, look, obviously, like you, if you can poach a guy like Mekhi Becton and turn him into, or Zach Bond and turn them both into, Pro Bowl caliber or better players. I mean, who's to say you can't just go and do that again? I'm not saying it's common, but
Right.
I'm also saying that it's not like out of the question if they, do find a way to go and do it.
And I mean, for your point on that, the Eagles kept their coaching. Like,
Yep.
yes, we lost Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, but we still have our offensive line coach and, defensive coach and Vic Fangio.
Right.
So we kept almost everybody except Kellen.
It's just employing this the same scheme and making sure you find the guys that fit it. The one thing that does worry me with that is the fact that Kellen Moore's gone, and I thought that he
Right.
really brought fresh breath to the offense. So that'll be interesting to see how they rebound from that. But
And
at
hey,
least it's not
Tim,
Vic.
you can post in here too. Like, what do you think that
Yeah,
the biggest need is for the Eagles this offseason and the draft? Don't be afraid to put that stuff in there.
yeah, that goes for everybody. Yeah, share your opinions with that. We'll talk on it. That's I like to get the conversations rolling here.
Yeah, share your favorite teams. If you have a team or a situation you want us to address first, put that in there, and we'll gladly talk about that.
Yeah. So what do you think? Who is your like? I talked about the Patriots. I thought that they had that sneaky good free agency so far. Who are you kind of looking at? Who was your sneaky
Oh,
move there?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's sneaky at all. I'm actually kind of scared as an Eagles fan. I like what Washington's doing. I really do. In the last 2 years, they really transitioned that team, and I mean, I got to look up their what they did here.
They're adding a lot of depth on defense. They've actually so you let Jonathan Allen walk. I mean, that was kind of my first like red flag for them. I won't want to say red flag though because he's getting like
Yeah, but
he
you
was
know
going to
what?
require some
They
money.
addressed it though. They brought in a good D tackle in Javon Kinlaw from the Jets. I mean, he might not be Jonathan Allen, but he's pretty darn close.
Brandon Benninger go Skins. Hey,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, that's the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC right now. There's no doubt, and it's just even
it really
crazier that
is.
they're in the same division.
Oh, and then they go and pick up a receiver like Debo Samuel. I mean, come
Right.
on, you got Scary Terry. Now you sign Ertz back for another year. You get that veteran presence in the middle of the field. They bring back the running back. Let's not forget that they signed left tackle Laramie Tunsil. I mean, come on,
Right.
they're making
That
all the
was a
right moves
huge
here.
trade. That was an absolutely huge trade to get Laramie Tunsil. That's where I feel like they kind of lacked last year. I'm not going to say lacked, but like down the stretch in the playoffs, Daniels is dynamic, and Daniels is going to make you pay just like Lamar will in a sense. But what I think Daniels has over Lamar going forward, which I don't think he's better than Lamar yet. Let me be very clear with that. His arm talent is way better, and he's nearly as dynamic on his feet. If Washington can find a way to build that offense and continue to add to that O line, that team is going to seriously contend for a Super Bowl here within the next 3 years. And getting Laramie Tunsil's
I
100%
mean, look, it's
right in that direction.
it's Jaden Daniels' first year. They went to an NFC title game.
Yep.
Did they kind of maybe get a little lucky because the Lions were hurt? Sure, that's part of the game though. Staying
Right.
healthy, like that plays into it. So you got to have good depth, and you know the Eagles got the best of them that game. But look, they're going to give the Eagles problems moving forward, and everyone knows I'm an Eagles fan. I'll admit that they're scary. On
Mm-hmm.
paper, the coaching's good. I mean, they're looking good. So yeah, that's my like. I think they're winning the free agency right now.
So we got Tim in here. I would like to see them bring in a guy like Lockett as the third wide receiver. Dotson did okay for what he
Yeah,
is, but the Eagles have had games where they rely on the third and the tight end because of injuries to Smith and Brown. If you can get him on a veteran minimum just due to his age and injury history, I'd be all for it. I mean, I think Tyler Lockett's just value over everything. He's got experience. He's played on some good teams. And like Dotson, like as with you said about Dotson, I really think that just more depth there for the cheap would help. And you see who pans out during camp. You can bring in guys. I mean, they brought in what's his name from the Colts, Darius Leonard, a couple years ago, 2 years, or it was last year, and he got cut before the season was started.
yeah.
So
Same thing with Devin White. I mean, we had them. We had was that this year? We had Devin White, but he never played, and they released
yeah,
him.
that Devin White also. I forgot. You can see how much of an impact he made because I completely forgot about him.
Yeah.
Um,
Tim commented. He said, "Anyone feel like the Steelers are now a quarterback away from being an actual contender?" I mean, I kind of felt like that last year, and now they added
mhm.
DK Metcalf, who, I mean, listen, when he actually had Russ throwing to him, and Russ was good, a top 10 quarterback. I mean, DK was a top 10 receiver, and I
I
still think
think
he can be.
I think they screwed up by letting Justin Fields walk. I would have paid him whatever he wanted. he looked so good early in the year while Russ was hurt, and I actually think they went in the wrong direction starting Russ throughout the year.
I agree with that.
But man, like you drop the ball there, you have a chance to have a younger quarterback, and that's the cheapest Fields is going to be. So if Fields goes
Yeah,
to the
20
Jets,
million. I
right?
mean,
That's the cheapest he's going to be. So now you're left with what? Potentially Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to cost you an arm and a leg. He's going to bring all that unwanted media attention to a city like Pittsburgh, where if you ask me, Pittsburgh's not the city to start that stuff
I'm
with.
not even. I don't think that's going to happen.
I
I
I
know.
actually
I know
I
all the
think it will.
signs. I know all the signs are pointing to it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So like, who do you go with there? I mean, Danny Dimes is gone. He's off. He's in Indy.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'd rather roll the dice with Rodgers than Danny Dimes.
I don't know, man.
But I
Rodgers
will
looked
be
pretty rough.
honest. Like Danny, I don't want to talk about Danny Dimes too much here, but Danny Dimes never had a DK Metcalf to throw to either.
Right.
Let's be honest here.
There has never been any kind of value insulation around Danny besides Saquon. I mean, he didn't even get a chance to really throw the ball to Neighbors. So it's what do you do? I mean, the Steelers have a pretty good offensive line. They've retooled. They got better in the draft last year, so that's not necessarily a problem anymore. Still have Jalen Warren.
I don't agree with that.
Oh, that center
I
that they
think
drafted at West Virginia.
I think they got better than
Stud.
the previous year, but I would hardly say that they're a good line yet.
Oh,
I think they need a lot of work yet. They could
I
definitely use another strong draft.
I think that they're middle of the pack or upper. Like
I'd say they're like 18.
they're moving towards the upper half. They're moving in that direction. I definitely think that there's possibility where if they can get another guy through the draft or two, they could retool, and I shouldn't say retool, but add to that and really shore up that offensive line. But quarterback, I agree with Tim. They are a quarterback away from being a contender, at least in that division, and it's the toughest division in football. So
here's why. So Tim says, anyone feel like the Steelers are now a quarterback away from an actual contender? And I'm just going to say no. Like there's
they're
no
just a couple pieces away yet.
Well, there's just no quarterback right now that I feel like is going to put them over the edge to beat Lamar Jackson consistently or Joe Burrow. Like they are two top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now. You could probably even say maybe 2 top 3 quarterbacks in the same division. But like you said, I just don't know who you go out and get.
So I'm looking at quarterbacks that are available right now. Let me just pull it up here if it would ever let me. There we go.
I honestly thought I don't know. I would have went after like a Sam Darnold. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but look,
I thought he would have been a good move.
Numbers don't lie. And I think he's better than what they have there.
So if you're looking at what's left on the market currently, quarterback-wise, you have Aaron Rodgers, Trey Lance, Taylor Heineke.
I was
Drew
actually
Lock.
thinking Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is currently under
Atlanta's hoarding them right now. But
yeah, Russell Wilson's there still.
It's clear that they moved on from Kirk Cousins. Like it looks like Penix is the future there. I don't know, man.
It's a fractured relationship, that's for sure. I mean, you might look at like Drew Lock as a bridge quarterback, but you almost have to go Rodgers or maybe even Flacco. Flacco's 40. Jameis Winston still there. He's out there yet.
So hear me out on this. I think you get Kirk Cousins, and I think he gets you through this year, and I think you're competitive. You probably make the playoffs. You squeak in like you did this year. And I think but what I think you really do is you draft like a Jalen Milroe.
Go out and get a quarterback of the future.
I do. And they could have avoided this whole thing if they just kept Justin Fields, but
I don't think that I agree with Tim. Tim just said Carson Wentz might wind up there. That could be an option. So you're talking about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now, if they cut him this year, $25 million in dead cap. If they cut him today, it'd be $25 million in dead cap. If they cut him today, their savings would be $32.5 million. So that's kind of a wash there down the road. Yeah. But if they cut him after March 16th.
I don't think that if they like if they cut him, they're not going to have him sit there on the bench and waste one of his final years of his career. Like I just don't think they'd do that to him.
If they trade him before June, like June 1st, they would save 32.5 million. So it'd be like cutting him as well. Your dead cap's still going to be 25 million. If they release him or trade him afterwards, your 2027 dead cap actually sits. There's a 12.5 million in dead cap after. So they're going to have to, I think they would have to trade him and eat the contract if they're going to do it.
I say you do it. I mean,
you got to move
why
on
not?
from him, right? Why would you let a vet like that sit on the bench or
I
even
mean,
come into camp?
who would you rather have? Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or would you rather have Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers?
If you were me, or if you were asking me and I had to make that decision right now, I'm going to 100% go Kirk Cousins because I don't think Aaron Rodgers probably plays next year.
Like, you can say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but one thing that he wasn't was a drama queen, and he gave it his all for his team. You can't say that he never did that.
Josh said, "Go Broncos." Josh, what do you think about Evan Ingram, the tight end that left Jacksonville, going to the Broncos for 2 years? A lot of people were saying that Sean Payton is really was really excited about that signing. You know, he's one of those type of tight ends that thrive in that role, Jimmy Graham style tight end.
Yeah, definitely a good receiver at the tight end position.
Right? He had a career year in 2022 and got that contract extension with
Well, here while we're
Jaguars.
talking Broncos, let's kind of evaluate their offseason so far.
Take a look at it. I was kind of going to piggyback into that here with the Steelers kind of floundering with quarterback situation.
Okay, so they got I'm gonna butcher this name, Talanoa Hufanga, safety from the Niners. Dre Greenlaw, linebacker from the Niners.
That's a
good
good
additions.
signing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just got to watch with his.
Injury.
He had an attitude issue there in San Fran. I'm pretty sure he left the team for quite a little bit of time there.
So, Josh, since you're a Broncos fan here, what do you think about their off-season moves right now? Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga.
I wish I could find the Broncos list here.
Josh says it's a big upgrade. Haven't been able to find anyone to fill in. He's talking about Evan Ingram. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I agree. I think it's – I mean, listen, Evan Ingram early in his career didn't do that much. The last couple of years, he's been pretty good.
I think you're going to really see them start to blossom into a better team, like as Peyton starts to build his roster the way he wants it. Obviously, went and got his quarterback, and now he's adding those pieces around him, and you could see them. I mean, I don't know, with the way the Chiefs played last year, it makes it hard to put anybody in that consideration, but they're with their legal troubles at wide receiver and the instability at running back. What do you at what point do you say a team kind of elbows their way in there and contends for that division?
Well, and you want to talk about the running backs. I mean, Javonte Williams is out of the mix now. He's actually a Dallas Cowboy.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Javonte Williams is a Cowboy now.
He is. Yep. He hit free agency, and I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but I know it happened obviously in the last few days.
If we piggyback into the Cowboys here, they also got Solomon Thomas. That's actually sneaky good signing there. He's a good depth piece for the Jets. Look at his rookie year. He's young. Injuries are the concern. Assuming we're suiting for offense in the draft. 100%, Josh. I think a lot of what you're going to see here. Don't mind my computer chair just keeps squeaking. Need some WD-40. People are going to think I'm ripping them here the entire podcast. But no, I think that you're right. I think that they're going to push in the direction of offense. It's Sean Payton, right? Where's his mindset going to be? It's going to be offense. I think what they need to do, they need to nail down a good running back. Like I like Audric Estime, but the inconsistency at running back for them outside of Javonte for the last couple of years, and even with Javonte, I don't think he's been like a superstar. You know, the expectations were a little higher and he didn't really meet them for me. I think they get a solid running back in there. That would be what puts them over the top.
Yeah, and they need to continue to build the O-line. But what did he say? Honestly, I can see Peyton trading up for Genty. I mean, that'd be
huge for them.
movie.
And it keeps
Josh,
them close.
Do you know where they're at in the draft right now, the Broncos?
Oh, and Tim said here, Broncos, in my opinion, will be the surprise in the AFC. I think they have a legit shot to win the division with the Chiefs team looking like a decline. Terrible Raiders team and Chargers are inconsistent. So I agree a little bit with that, in except for the fact that I think the Chargers actually take a step in the right direction this year, like
I think
noticeable.
the Chargers, they were right there in the mix last year, and it was Harbaugh's first year. So
Yep.
I'm not so sure, Tim, that I agree with the inconsistency, but I do agree the Raiders will probably be at the bottom. Um, Chiefs always find a way to pull it out, though. But look, I'm looking at Denver's free agency. They don't have many free agents, so they're keeping everybody, and that defense is pretty good last year.
I think you definitely see one of the teams outside of the Chiefs make a wild card spot. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I think either the Chargers or the Broncos, like preseason right now, peg it. I guarantee that one of those two teams is a wild card representative for the AFC this year, if not both. I don't want to say both because the AFC North is just a ridiculous division, but it'll be interesting.
Josh said the Broncos led the league in sacks. I believe that. I mean, look, Denver's always been a good defensive team. It don't matter who their coordinator is; they just always bring it.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, the Chiefs got to figure out, like, obviously the wide receiver position is a revolving door for them, but that doesn't ever seem to matter. So I'm done worrying about that. Same thing, like even though Kelsey's on his way out, and I don't know whether or not he's going to play or not. I think he confirmed he's going to play. I'm not 100%
While
sure.
we're in this division, we're kind of talking about the Chiefs. Let's dig into their free agency here.
Yeah,
See what kind of losses they have. Just one off the top of my head, I know they lost DeAndre Hopkins.
yeah.
Not a huge loss, but I mean, he was a threat on the field. He stretched the field for them. He was a sure-handed guy.
When he wasn't, yeah. Well, I was about to say he was sure-handed until he dropped that ball in the Super Bowl. But anyway,
Yeah, the wide open touchdown.
so they
Yeah.
actually lost some James Winchester and Justin Reed. Those are two big losses for them. Justin Watson's not really a big loss, but other than that, they kind of
Well,
protect.
Winchester they kept. They re-signed him on a 1 year.
Did they keep him?
Yeah,
I might have been reading that wrong.
Justin Watson, the wide receiver,
Oh,
they let
that's
him
it.
go.
He went to Houston. That's the one James. So they did keep Winchester, so they didn't lose him. Tershawn
Samaje,
Wharton.
go ahead. Sorry.
Tershawn Wharton was a pretty solid piece outside of Chris Jones. He had a pretty good year, and that could also be because Chris Jones is on the field next to him. But that'll hurt a little bit.
I think one that hurts them is Justin Reed, their safety.
That's the biggest loss they've had.
He always shows up in the big moment, and
Yep.
now he's joining another defensive team in the Saints. I mean, Saints, I feel like always get like one of the top safeties in either in like the draft or free agency at some point. That's a big signing for the Saints.
They did bring in Christian Fulton and Elijah Mitchell. That was pretty solid right there. Elijah Mitchell's a good change of pace. I don't know how he would look with
He got to stay on the field.
with
He's a good
Pacheco.
running back, but
And they traded
out
Thuney
there.
to the Bears. That was the bonehead move for them. Like Joel Thuney did everything for them this year.
I don't think they could keep him with the cap. I really don't.
It's starting to push it.
It's starting to push.
What did he get traded for? Let me look here in the
But
transaction.
Christian Fulton from the Chargers, I like that a lot. He's good. I'm surprised that the Chargers let him go.
Yeah, his cap hit for Thuney was $16 million. They got a 4th round pick back for him, but it's in 26. So I think they got duped a little bit there, but you kind of have to do what you have to do.
Well, listen, right now we're talking about all the losses. Right now, the Chiefs have 15 free agents that are not signed back yet.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them aren't big names, but a couple of them are. Juju, Kareem Hunt, Mecole Hardman. Like those are
all that depth that they're losing.
The bigger names. But I mean, they're taking 15 people. I mean, man.
They have to trim it off. And look at Tim said, big question here with the money that Myles Garrett just got. How do you think it'll play out with Parsons? I can't see Jerry paying that kind of money. I don't either. I don't know what Dallas is doing. I really don't.
I want to stick with the Chiefs a little bit here. I just have one thing I want to bring up. So you can say what you want about Patrick Mahomes,
Mhm.
dude. He restructured his contract. I don't know if you're aware of that. If you guys
Yeah,
are aware of it, he was supposed to get 66 million this year. He restructured to get 49 and a half. So it just says a lot about him.
saved him almost 20 mil.
He, he's not money hungry. I know that's a lot of money, but he's trying to share the wealth and actually have a team build around him too at the same time.
He's chasing Brady. There's no doubt about it that
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
he's on a path to just continue that dynasty as long as he can stretch that out.
And honestly, in his first, what is it, like 7 years he's in there now, maybe 8. I mean,
Mhm.
he's accomplished more than Brady did, I think, at
At
that
that
point in his
point,
career.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's just the longevity part of it. Being able to build that team around him for that long is going to be, a little interesting to see. They have 49 million in caps, but yeah, Chris Jones did restructure. So that's another thing. At what point do you move off of Chris Jones? So Chris Jones, the last 2 Super Bowls the Eagles played them in, he was hurt, right? Still a absolute game wrecker. I'm not going to discredit that.
I'm gonna say he also won them the Super Bowl against the Bengals, or not the Bengals.
The 49ers
Is that who it was?
last year. Yeah. It would have been either of the 2 49ers Super Bowls. So they've beat the 49ers twice now. They've beaten the Eagles once. There was a year in between where they lost to the Buccaneers.
Okay.
Should have been 19 they won against the 49ers. 20 was the
Was that the
no
was that the Rams and the Bengals?
no 20 was the Bucks. 21 was the Rams and Bengals. 22 was
Okay,
the
that's what.
Eagles.
Yeah,
And then last year was the 49ers. This year is the Eagles again. So yeah, I mean, I think at some point though, it's like the same thing with Kelsey. Kelsey was a good football player. Don't get me wrong. Probably one of the greatest tight ends of all time, if not the greatest. I don't know where he ranks, against Gronk. We'll talk about that in another episode. But
Tony G too.
the Tony G is another one. But at what point do you realize that he's a little beyond, the stick with that? I think this year you saw that, humongous decline. His yards per reception was cut in half, I believe. Like he's not what he once was, and he's just eating up cap space for what we got with him. And the same way with Chris Jones, at what point do you avoid the decline? You maximize your return on investment with him when you could trade him or move him.
Yeah, I mean a big loss for Dallas this year too. I mean they just lost DeMarcus Lawrence to Seattle.
Yep. But it was time, I think. That's a good fat trimming move. You have to
It
be
is,
realistic in the future. I think that's the thing with the Eagles. They're realistic.
and I mean DeMarcus Lawrence is 32 years old. Like
Yeah.
let's
He's
be
getting up
honest.
there in age for an
Let's
edge
be
rusher.
honest. The last time that he was really elite was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Probably last time we were doing the podcast, at least.
But I mean, the thing is, like, when is Dallas ever going to make a splash in free agency? Like, I literally can't remember the last time they made noise. And I know
I
this year they really can't because they don't have any money to spend.
well, I think they're a product of Jerry Jones evaluating your players. Like that's the only way I can describe or justify what they do
Mhm.
is the fact that Jerry Jones is the evaluator at the end of the line for their players. If you think Dak Prescott is that good, that Dak Prescott should make the money he's making and hasn't
Isn't he
shown up.
making like 60 million or something
Yeah, let me
crazy?
actually look at their cap situation because it's absolutely dire. Let me pull this
Yeah,
up. Look,
I mean, last time I looked, they literally did not have money for Micah.
it's so top loaded. Their dead cap is 17th in the league. They have 20.7 million in dead cap, which could be worse. It's not horrible.
Say that's
But
actually not that bad
if
for
they
dead
were to
cap.
you want to hear something bad? If they were to cut Dak Prescott, his dead caps would be $150 million. His cap hit this year is 52.9 million.
Yeah, I agree with Tim.
Yeah.
I think even Cowboys fans tell me that. They're like, when Jerry gives it up, that's when they'll start winning the big games again.
Well, I keep saying this. the thing for Cowboys fans is, yeah, it's right. It sounds really good when you say that Jerry Jones is going to be done and that's going to be a breath of fresh air. Well, guess what? You're going to have another 30 years of Stephen Jones after Jerry Jones steps
Yeah, but
down.
I'll tell you what though, Stephen Jones is better than Jerry.
Yeah, I will say it is better, but I don't know, man. If they don't do something soon, like looking at this cap situation, it's absolutely ridiculous. The last big move that Dallas did, in my opinion, is when they signed T.O. Even then, like that was more of a
Honestly, it
like
was. It
that
really
was like a
was
middle
though.
finger to the Eagles at that time. People were burning T.O. jerseys in Philadelphia.
So
But
I kind of want to jump back to the Eagles here just for a
mhm,
second. So the Eagles signed AJ Dillon today. Okay.
mhm.
I know why they signed him.
Why?
I didn't understand it at first because we got Miles Sanders for depth,
Mhm.
reunite him with Barkley. Um, back in the Penn State days.
Yeah, right.
AJ Dillon squats 645 pounds. So I think he will be a part of the brotherly shove.
He's a tush push prospect.
Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
So you
That makes
got
sense.
Hurts, Barkley, and AJ Dillon all
Wait,
squat over 600 pounds.
so they did re-sign. Is Miles Sanders guaranteed? Like I don't see that here. I
it
see
might
him as
it,
an available running back.
it might not be inked yet, but he's gonna sign with the Eagles. He was on Carolina.
Let me look here once. I saw they cut him today, but I don't see anything. I would love to have him back in Philly. I mean, he's going to come in on the cheap.
Let me see if I can find it somewhere. I know I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything for it yet. Not
Yeah, he did.
confirmed yet. I don't want to
Yeah,
confirm it yet.
yeah, it's not confirmed, but it's looking likely.
I'll tell you what though, AJ Dillon in as a backup is nice. Like that's
Oh
really
yeah,
good for those short yardage situations because
yeah,
then
he's a good power back.
people also forget we still have Will Shipley, and I absolutely love Will Shipley.
You know
Shipley is
what?
like
I kind of forgot about him a little bit.
he's going to be a great change of pace, and I think that's why they were comfortable letting Gainwell walk. Like obviously Gainwell did very well, and he's going to command a bigger contract than the Eagles could offer. But it's interesting to think about because Shipley's only a rookie. He'll be in his second year next year.
I think Gainwell could very well be the lead back in Pittsburgh. It's only
Him
him
and
and Jalen
Warren.
Warren.
It'll be a one.
Najee's on the Chargers.
I think it'll be a 1A 1B situation. He'll be like he was with Philly, that change of pace, but I think he'll be utilized more. Obviously, when you're in a backfield with Saquon, it's limited touches to begin with.
Oh yeah,
But looking here at like some of the re-signings, like some of uh the transactions here, I see one team I want to talk about that knocked it out of the park was the Buccaneers getting Chris Godwin to come back on a very little deal. He only signed a 3-year, 66 million extension, and I don't think a ton of it's guaranteed. Just looking at this, 40,000 or 40 million. Sorry, there's 20 million that's not on the books for the Bucks with that, and he could have easily got that kind of money if he would have went elsewhere.
another team that's kind of interesting in free agency here is the Bills. So they let Von Miller walk. It doesn't look like they're going to sign Amari Cooper back. But then they bring in Joey Bosa from the Chargers on a 1-year, $12 million deal.
That's a huge signing, and they're only on the hook for 12 million.
Yeah. But then they bring in Josh Palmer from the Chargers.
Yep. They need
3-year, $36 million.
they need to add some value at wide receiver. Keon Coleman and Josh Palmer aren't going to do it for you.
No.
Like, do you need to I even questioned their Amari Cooper trade last year. I didn't really like Amari Cooper. I didn't think that was a very good signing, and I think that's where they lacked down the stretch. Mike
Hey,
said, "Let's go Bronco." Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good.
Mike said, "Let's go Broncos, making big splashes in the offseason this year. I can see them drafting Warren or Loveland at tight end, then the best available running back in the second round, hoping Scatabo." I honestly I could see them going running back in the first round if the right person's available. and then going tight end in the second round.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Josh was saying. He thinks they might move up and get Genty.
I mean, we'll see. They have options, which is good for them. I would tell you if they get Tyler Warren, that is the kind of tight end that Sean Payton would absolutely love because
Oh
he
yeah.
can do it all. He did it all at Penn State. He can even throw the ball. So you got like, what's his name? Oh goodness, I can't think of his name. The got played tight end and quarterback for the Saints. Goodness,
Oh, Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. He would be a Taysom Hill 2.0.
Gotcha.
But I agree, Mike. I think those are definitely the two positions that are at the top of their radar for the draft.
I also think going back to Warren there, he was talking about Warren. I think that's also going to be a target for the Eagles.
That would be huge. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get up high enough to draft him. I
And
think he goes, but
and I think it's going to be one of them situations too where they're looking for an edge rusher, a safety, and a tight end. So it's like whatever one falls into their lap, you kind of take.
so a name I want you to remember in the draft this year for the Eagles, Harold Fannin Jr. I'm he
Bowling
was the
Green.
he led the nation in receiving as a tight end.
Yep.
Like
I know who he is.
his stats are actually better than Warren's. He just hasn't played the competition. So he could be one that the Eagles could target here in the next 2 years. I don't know if he's coming out of the draft or not.
So we have a couple comments here.
Yeah, I'll let you cover them.
Biggest loser, in my opinion, this is from Brad. The 49ers, they lost a ton of starters. I agree. I mean,
Yes.
they are dropping people left and right because they just don't have the cap. And I think their window is officially closed.
I think they pushed all their chips into the middle of the table and it didn't work out for them. It made a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we're in an NFC championship, but I
They
really
were in 2 Super Bowls, right?
Oh, that's
Lost to
right.
the
Well, if
Chiefs
you count
twice.
19, right? But I meant in like the last 2-3 years here.
Okay.
I really think that they pushed all their chips in the middle of the table and just did not end up in the right
And
direction.
listen, I don't know what it will do for their cap. I don't know if you want to look this up, Trevor. But CMC, I think with the state that they're in, you try to move him and get some draft capital and just hit the reset button here because, I mean, they lost a lot.
Let me look here.
And I'll pull up their free agent moves here. I know they lost a ton, though.
Tim also said the Bucks signed Hassan Reddick. I think that's a sneaky good move too because you might be able to get some value out of him after that rough relationship he had with New York. And Mike said, I agree, a lot of options. Have a feeling Cup could also be signed. Cup is the kind of wide receiver that you could see Sean Payton going for too. I think that I agree with you and what Josh said earlier. They're going to really try to load up on that offense. They think Bo Nix could be a superstar, and Peyton said that last year before the season, even that he's one of the best rookie quarterbacks he's ever seen. So
I
it'll
don't
be
know if
interesting.
I don't know if it was speculation or if it was official, but I thought that I seen Cooper Cup was going to New England.
Not
Or is that just
guaranteed. That was number one on his like the list of like projected places that he could end up, but it's not
okay?
100%.
Gotcha. Just speculation at this
Yep.
point.
So
Yeah.
CMC's in contract through 2028. He'll be age 32 at that time. If they were to cut him right now, it would be potential out. 2026 would be 2 years. They would save 31.8 million and they would have 8.5 of dead cap. So that would be the move to move him after this year.
I would move him.
So
Absolutely.
so if you moved him post end of league year, this upcoming year, which would be beginning of March,
Mm-hmm.
you would then be able to save yourself 31 million in cap. So it'll be interesting.
So notable losses that they have. I'm just going to name the big names that everyone knows. Charvarius Ward, he went to the Colts.
That's a huge loss.
Hufanga, we talked about that. He went to Denver. Dre Greenlaw to Denver.
Yep. And we're talking about the 49ers, by the way.
Yep. Javon Hargrave, they lost him to Minnesota. That's a big signing by Minnesota, by the way.
They retooled big time.
Leonard Floyd, they lost. Elijah Mitchell.
Yep.
Those are the big names. So they lost a good part of their defense, and honestly, that's what made them good. And let's not forget what Debo got traded. So they're hurting on offense as well.
Big time. I think that they're kind of putting all their chips on what's his name, Ricky Pearsall, Slicky Rick, and I think he's a good wide receiver, but they also still have that fractured relationship with that not Jawan Jennings. These names are escaping me.
They do have Juwan Jennings though.
Yeah, but they have that
Ayuk.
other Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk. They had a lot of issues with Ayuk saying he wanted to be traded.
He
Obviously the
got he
injury
got his
last year,
extension though. He got like a 5-year deal, I think.
but I'm just saying like the stigma in their wide receiver room is not good. There's not Debo was that do it all for them kind of deal.
Oh yeah, Brad, I did forget Juszczyk.
Yeah,
Yep,
they got
Juszczyk
rid of
got
Juszczyk.
released.
I
Yep.
think he was 34. I think he was pretty old.
He's but he doesn't really have a lot of miles on his body. He's
Well,
just a
playing
fullback,
fullback,
yeah.
just out there getting banged around. He is a good fullback, best in the league, I think. Ayuk, I can see being traded. I
I don't
would
know
be
about
curious
that
to see.
because he just signed a 5-year deal, didn't he? That'd be a
Let,
huge hit, I think.
let me look at his contracts here.
Not saying they can't do it, but
So his value is 120 million for his contract. He's guaranteed 45. He doesn't have a lot of guaranteed salary out of that 120 million.
okay. So maybe it
So
won't hurt.
let me look here and see what their potential out is. Their potential out isn't until 2027. It'd be 3 years, 76 million. They'd have 9.2 in dead cap. So they would save themselves quite a bit of money if they'd wait. I think they hold on to him, obviously, as wide receiver one there. They're
Mhm.
kind of betting on him, but yeah, the guaranteed money for him wasn't that high, and that's actually kind of surprising because while he does have that attitude and the issue with them, he was a very good wide receiver. We'll find out just how good this year without Debo on the field, but Aldous Purdy, there were the windows when he was on his rookie deal. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't agree more with that.
They
Brad,
signed him
we
to
were
a
just
huge contract.
we were just kind of talking about that. I think he's gonna end up with like 45 mil a year. Which I think is too much, but is what it is.
Well, and then you also have Bosa still on his extension, Fred Warner, Demondre
Yep.
Lenore,
I mean, don't
Andrew
get me
Kittle,
wrong.
even.
They still have good pieces. I just don't think that they're going to be up in the let's be honest. The last 3 years, they're one of the favorites for the NFC every
Yep.
year. I just
Well,
think they're going to be one of those teams that's on the bubble the next couple of years, maybe making
not
the playoffs, maybe not.
not to mention they're young yet. So let me just rattle off a couple names and a couple ages here, which is actually surprising to me now that I look at it. Nick Bosa is only 25. Ayuk's 26. Warner's 24 years old.
Hey, Host is only 25.
Yes. Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, age at signing. I'm a dumbass.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, thanks. Let me gotta find where is that at? It doesn't give me their
I
current
mean,
age. It gives
I know Nick's not old, but I didn't think he was 25. I was
no,
thinking
it
more like 27 or something
was
like
when they
that.
signed their extensions. Goodness. I don't even see anything for Trent. Trent Williams was 36 when he signed his
Yeah,
contract.
he's soon done.
Yeah, they have him on the books through 2027, but he'll be 39 at that point. Yeah, they are older. Okay, I lie. They are older. They're not young. Let me just reel that one back. But no, I think the 49ers are in a lot of trouble. They definitely have to press the button on rebuild soon. You know another team that's in a lot of trouble? The Tennessee Titans. Just
What
looking
makes you
at their
say
stuff
that?
here.
They should have a lot of cap.
Well, yeah, but they did lose quite a bit. They lost Cody. No, oh wait, sorry. They brought in a lot. They brought in Cody Barton, Xavier Woods,
I mean, they lost 21
Sebastian
people.
Joseph, Van Jefferson, Mike Brown has Blake Hance. I don't know a couple of those guys. With the
Yeah,
Dolphins being
they're
so over the
dead.
cap, do you think they try to trade Hill or Waddle or even
Cody
Tua?
Barton, that's actually not a bad signing by
No,
them.
I'm just kind of curious as to what their direction is. Do you stick with Will Levis or do you move on? Like he's pretty bad. I had him in fantasy and he was atrocious for me. You also had Mason Rudolph there too. Tim said, with the Dolphins being so over the cap, do you think they try to trade Hill or Waddle or even Tua because of their injury history? Maybe not this year, but next. I think they should. I think they should now. At least try to trade one of them.
What do we think about Seattle? They bring in Sam Darnold, obviously trade Geno Smith, bring in Demarcus Lawrence.
I think they upgraded personally. I think at wide receiver there are going to be a couple question marks, obviously, but
Yeah, but Smith and Jigba, I mean, they're pretty much saying, "Hey, you're our guy.
yeah.
You're our future." Obviously, they had the issues with DK. Like DK wanted the ball. They didn't really have a
Mm-hmm.
guy that could get him the ball consistently.
They have Noah Fant too. If he's not gone, I think he's still on the books. They definitely have to address wide receiver this year in the draft. There's no doubt. You know, with what Tim had said there, maybe a move for Seattle would be to make a move for a receiver like Waddle. You know, you can go and get some guy like that who may not be as expensive because he hasn't been as good as what he's brought out to be.
What do you think about Devonte Adams going to the Rams?
That was actually pretty good. They re-signing Stafford, you almost have to guarantee that he has a number one there still now that they released Cup. So
I mean, I think
Devontae Adams is
Puka's.
pretty
I
good.
think Puka's going to be the one, though.
You
Honestly,
think over Adams?
I mean,
I
look,
don't know.
Devonte Adams is a good receiver, but let's not forget that he's 32 years old. I
I
mean,
think he has a resurgence this year.
I think he's going to have a good year. I think he definitely is going to have the volume from Stafford. I
Mm-hmm.
just, at the same time, youth prevails, man. Puka's good. He even took over when Cup was there.
But just a heads up to anybody on Twitch, don't click on that link. I'm going to try to remove that here.
Oh, spam.
Yeah, I don't know if I could figure out how to do it.
I'm looking at the Jets here. I didn't realize that they lost their good corner, DJ Reed. He went to Detroit. I mean,
Yep.
that's a pretty good pickup for Detroit.
Tim said Kenneth Walker's underrated. I agree. I think that Kenny's last year is going to be, last year in Seattle will be this year. I think that they'll move on from him. I think he finishes up his rookie contract. He's going to get shipped out somewhere else. It's tough with Charbonnet there. So I think that this year, if you're Seattle, you definitely got to make a move for somebody. You could even make a move for a T. Higgins. He's franchise tagged in Cincinnati. Obviously,
Yeah.
they said, "Hey, you got one more year, and that's it," because he isn't going to re-sign with them now unless they pay him wide receiver one money. I think
I
he
mean,
gets
he is
traded.
getting wide receiver one money. It's just in a 1 year franchise tag
Right,
version
but
of it.
like a Jamar Chase size deal would be something he's probably looking for.
I just don't think that he's worth that. I really don't. Good receiver, yes. He's not a Jamar Chase to me. I don't know.
No, definitely not. I think he benefits from having Jamar Chase and a guy like Burrow to throw him the ball.
And honestly, I mean, I don't know if you'll disagree. I think Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the league right now.
Yeah, it definitely, arguably, he's like in the top 2 to 3 conversation, if not.
2 to 3.
I mean, in my opinion, you have like Amon-Ra St. Brown is up there. Um,
I'd say it's either between him or Justin Jefferson for me.
Justin Jefferson's another one too. I'm even after this year, I don't want to. I can't say AJ Brown. He's not. He's not there. You know what I mean? He's like
I
just a tier below. He's 1B and those guys are 1A.
I agree with that, but AJ Brown, like, I don't want to sound biased, but it's like he doesn't get the volume them guys do. Like if he got the
Right.
volume, he would get his 100 yards and 2 touchdowns every
Well,
game, but
look
he
at
just doesn't get that volume.
there's 2 all-pro wide receivers on the Eagles team, so it's
Well, you
definitely
could say that about the Bengals too. I mean, with T. Higgins and but you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Whatever.
Brad Klinger said Germania may make a comeback and play QB for the Steelers this year. My collarbone is good. Steelers need a QB bad. You're right.
It's an
I think
inside
this.
joke. I broke his collarbone in high school football.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. The Steelers need any help they can get with the quarterback position. I don't know. It's slim pickings. We were talking about that earlier, but it's gonna be rough for them this year.
So, what do you think about the Jets and Justin Fields? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I mean,
So do you
do you think that's a good like a move that could put them into the playoffs?
do you remember 2 years ago when, or would have been 3 years ago now, when the Jets had that draft, that amazing draft where they drafted all those defensive players. They picked up
Yeah,
what's his name? Oh, now it's passing my mind. Their cornerback, um,
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner, and is it Johnson, their defensive end or outside linebacker they drafted in the same draft out of Florida State.
From Florida State. Yep.
So so when they did that, I said they were a young quarterback away from building like a good franchise for the future. Justin Fields is that quarterback. Justin Fields is going to be the guy that comes in. He has Garrett Wilson to build that rapport with. They have Brees Hall, running the ball behind him, and they also got what's
I
that?
just seen Mac Jones signed with the Niners.
Oh
Sorry,
gosh, really? Jones signed with the Niners?
that's what Tim's saying. I can't confirm that, but
Let me
I'm
look
sure he
here.
wouldn't. I'm sure he wouldn't lie to us.
Yep, yep. We got updates as it's coming. You get Tim in here like Schefter.
That's funny.
Oh, but let me look here. Yeah, I think that getting back to the Jets' whole situation, I really think that Justin Fields is what's going to put them over the hump a little bit. I really think they're division contenders with Justin Fields at quarterback. Call me crazy, but
Well,
we'll see how
it's
the new coach pans out.
I don't know if Garrett's in the chat here, but I'm sure he's gonna appreciate seeing Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson reuniting too. Two Ohio State guys that
Yeah.
really did well for Ohio State in their college days.
Who knows? The Jets might be able to go out and get a backup quarterback for him like Will Howard.
I think a big loss for the Jets here though is I seen they released C.J. Mosley today. That
Yes.
is, listen, a lot of people don't know this about the linebackers. They make play calls and stuff like that. Not every linebacker has the IQ to handle that. CJ Mosley was one of the best in the league at doing that. So they lost the leader. I know he's older, so he lost a step,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean that's a big loss.
So they also brought in Brandon Stevens, another cornerback, because they did lose DJ Reed.
Was he from Baltimore?
Yes, yes, they did. Yep.
He was a good
Andre
young corner.
Cisco is another one, a safety. So they retooled the secondary a little bit, even though Isaiah Oliver's another one they re-signed.
Okay.
But here's a big signing for them that I think is huge to shore up the offensive line a little more. They brought in Josh Myers. Josh Myers is a solid center.
I
Came
don't know
from
much
Green
about
Bay.
him.
Came from Green Bay. They had a little bit of a rough year up front because of injuries and things like that, moving guys around. But I really think that that's going to help that offensive line. Don't forget they also have Olu Fashanu, guy that signed from Penn State last year, 2 years ago in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this year. But I'm like on the Jets train. I want to see them potentially make a push for the playoffs this year.
I think the NFC is making a bigger push this year in the offseason
Yeah.
than the AFC. I mean, listen, I'm going to go down through. I was just looking at another team that's making a splash in free agency. It's the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes. I was
I
just
mean,
looking at them too.
they bring in Will Fries from the
Yep.
Indianapolis. He was a good guard.
He's one of the better guards in the league.
They re-signed Byron Murphy. He's been a
Mm-hmm.
good cornerback for them since he got to Minnesota. I think he was originally drafted by Arizona. They bring in Jonathan Allen from Washington and Javon Hargrave from San Francisco. I mean, you talk about bringing in two of the top defensive tackles in the free agency. That's crazy.
Yep. Not to mention they also signed Ryan Kelly.
Oh yeah, from
Ryan Kelly's
Indianapolis
another.
as
So
well.
he's going to be playing alongside Will Fries again. Both of them are Pro Bowlers, I believe.
That's kind of crazy that Indianapolis is letting their offensive line walk because they had one of the better offensive lines in the league.
Well, I think they're starting to realize that obviously Quentin Nelson's under a big contract, but I think they're starting to realize that it's time to rebuild, like fully rebuild, not
Right.
just hold on to it. Vikings depend on how the quarterback does. I'm curious. I'm really curious to see how JJ McCarthy plays. I think this has given him the opportunity to play now. and it'll be interesting to see. O'Connell's a good coach, and every quarterback that he's had has been solid under him.
I'll put it this way: they're really helping him out by stacking the defense. That
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier on the quarterback. And I mean,
And value up front. I mean, they re-signed Aaron Jones. They hired two offensive linemen.
yeah, and I mean, listen, they got the O line for him. Like
Yep.
they are literally building around him, which is great. They're putting him in one of the best situations that you could be in for a rookie quarterback. I'm going to call him a rookie because he didn't play last year.
Right. Right. Definitely. I agree. I think that they're doing their part to build around him. And given the circumstances last year, it goes to show how good of a coach O'Connell is, because what he was able to bring out of Darnold, like that was college Sam Darnold that you were seeing. He
Yeah,
struggled everywhere he's been, had a little bit of success with the 49ers for the little bit of time that he did play. But I really think that Minnesota's in a position. The problem is it's a tough division. It arguably the toughest division. Who wins the NFC North? Oh, Tim, you put me on the spot, man.
I
What's up,
mean,
Travis?
you could probably spin a bottle and whatever it lands on, other than the Bears, will you have a good chance at betting.
So okay,
Probably
so
equal odds.
we can make the change, right? We can change it in the future when we give our predictions, whatever. But right now, I'm putting you on the spot. Who is winning the NFC North? You have to give me an answer and why.
Detroit Lions.
Just proven team.
Right now, they're the proven team, and I just don't see anyone stopping that offense right now. And they got that swagger. Um, Look at last year, how good they did, and they had, I think it was like 9 injuries at one time on their
Hmm.
defense, and they still made it. I mean, the first round of the playoffs because they had the bye, but I just think you owe it to them to make them the favorites. But it's close. I mean, honestly, I think Green Bay kind of takes a step back this year. I think it's going to end up right now. My predictions would be Detroit, Minnesota, then Green Bay, then the Bears at the bottom, like they always tend to be.
I will say the Bears, I think, are going to get a little bit worse. I guess they don't
They can get worse.
they don't have that cohesiveness. Like I think Caleb Williams is a division. Like he divides everything there. The media, the scrutiny. It's already bad karma for a team that's already bad.
I mean,
But
he had arguably 3 number one receivers on that team
mhm,
last year, which might not ever happen again for him. And he looked average, in
yeah,
my
he was
opinion.
middle of the road. If I
And
have to
I
pick
don't think
though,
it's all him though. Like that goes down to coaching and play calling too, and putting him in a good scheme. So like I'm not sitting here saying Caleb Williams is bad. I just think that they need to adjust to him and build around him more
so
than
I
just
see
throwing receivers, you know.
I see Tim said Lions, and Tim agreed with you. I'm going to say Vikings, and I'll tell you why. I think that the Vikings' problem was that they couldn't stop the run when they played Minnesota, and they can't get after Jared Goff.
Mhm.
Those are the two things that you need to do to beat Detroit. And I think bringing in guys like Hargrave and Jonathan Allen allows you to do both. It gets versatile with that. They secure the safe or the secondary a little bit. They bring in some value there, and they shore up the offensive line. So they've done three things. The only thing that they need to do is make sure that JJ McCarthy plays well. And I believe in Kevin O'Connell. I think that two of the best coaches in the league are in the NFC North. And I think LaFleur is not far away from that either.
I think
But
LaFleur is the better coach in that division.
I think that personally, I think O'Connell's the best coach. I think Dan Campbell and LaFleur are probably a very close tie for second. I love what O'Connell's been able to do in Minnesota. The value that he raised the bar for that team and has made rosters that were somewhat questionable at times, even playing through injuries with like Justin Jefferson, they were able to go and still be competitive multiple years. I don't know. I trust in that guy. I have a lot of
I
lot of
just
promise for him.
I'm just looking at the Lions free agency. They didn't add a lot of people, but they
Hmm.
didn't lose any key players either. And then they added someone like they added 2 corners. They added DJ Reed and Carlton Davis. Let's remember Aiden Hutchinson's going to be back full strength this year.
Right.
like they still made it that far without their best player, arguably on defense.
And he might be a little slow to start the year, but I think he comes back to form as long as that leg doesn't have any complications.
So, I mean, if they have a strong draft, they're going to be as good as anybody again.
I will tell you too, another team that's making a lot of moves, LA, the Chargers. They went out and re-signed, I think, 5 of their guys, 6 of their guys. Now I don't count Jalen Rager because he sucks really bad, and that hurts to say that name. But they were
Wait,
able to go out
who?
and get Najee Harris, Denzel Perryman was re-signed, Benjamin St. Just. They nabbed him from the Commanders. There's a lot right there
Yeah,
going on.
they let some pieces go though.
They also got Dante
Josh
Jackson.
Palmer, they let him go. They let Fulton go, their corner. I think he was a pretty good piece.
What is your direction if you're them? Like you need wide receivers, right? I mean, that's kind of like the writings on the wall there.
Yeah, because they have a pretty good young offensive line, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they just signed or they just drafted Joe Alt last year. Joe Alt's probably one of the best offensive line prospects I've paid attention to in the last 20 years. Well, 10 years, I guess. I
Yeah,
was pretty young.
I think their biggest need. I mean, Joey Bosa's out of the building too, so I think edge rusher and receiver is what
Yeah,
I would address in the draft for
it's probably
sure.
the direction for them. But I really like the moves they're making. I think they've taken some steps to make themselves, a contender in that division.
Right, and the off season, well, free agency isn't over yet. Like
Right. There's still time.
there's still a lot of moves to be made. There's still a lot of big name players out there.
Tim said, I'm glad the Eagles drafted Rager because they probably wouldn't have Brown or Smith. I agree. I agree. I mean, as much as
Yeah, but
we
we'd
could have
probably
had
have
Justin
Justin
Jefferson
Jefferson.
kind of deal, I really think that the situation played out a lot better. And especially the way that Brown and Smitty complement each other and the way they play. I
We would
just
probably have Justin Jefferson and Micah Parsons, though.
it'd be something like
So
that. Yeah. We might not have won a Super Bowl because of it.
yeah,
That's the
or we
truth.
might have won another one.
Right. We could have won 2 by now. Well, I mean 2 like in the last 3
I know what you
years.
meant. Yeah,
Yeah, it sometimes slips my mind that we won a Super Bowl in 2017 just because it was so awesome this year. And it's like, yeah, we did that too. But yeah,
yeah, with the backup quarterback.
hey, Nick is a legend and will forever be ingrained in Philly folklore forever.
I don't want to bore people with Eagles talk, but they did beat two of arguably the best quarterbacks ever.
Hmm.
I mean, Brady
Matt
is the
Ryan
GOAT,
and
and then Mahomes is like in the GOAT conversation already.
well, don't forget they also beat Matt Ryan when they were on the way to the Super Bowl in 2017. Matt Ryan's one of the better quarterbacks the last 2 decades.
That was really crazy.
Right? Travis, Super Bowl champs, baby. Absolutely. It's awesome to see. I do want to say though, I think we're gonna get hang on. Got another message in here. Let's hear it. Which Super Bowl was the best for the Eagles?
I'm going with 2017 just because it was
Yeah.
the first one and it was
Yep.
against the GOAT.
Well, and I also always fall back on the whole underdogs mentality. So that team was obviously incredible that year, but at the end of the day, that team fought through so much adversity, losing guys like Jason Peters, um, and just being banged up front. Steven Wisniewski had to start games on, started in the Super Bowl for us. And
It is crazy though. Like these guys that they get on the line, they're like nobodies most of the time, and then they just turn into like good linemen.
well, like Jordan Mailata was playing rugby like 10 years ago.
They want. I remember when they wanted him to be a tight end or a fullback, and then all of a sudden he's a left tackle. Like
And
the
he's like the
most
biggest left
crucial.
tackle in the league.
It's like one of the most crucial positions in the league on the
Travis,
field, I should say.
Travis, it's so good. Glad to see you guys back. We are glad. We are happy to be back.
Absolutely, man.
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun off season. I'll be honest with you. I wish we could just like fast forward through baseball season and get to football because I don't know about you, but I'm ready to watch some live games here and talk football and get to the. I mean, the draft will be exciting too. We'll have to do some fantasy stuff. If you guys want to see some fantasy mock drafts or anything like that, let us know. We can set stuff up
Yeah, a
like
lot of
that.
these guys in here are in my fantasy leagues though, so
Oh,
I don't
you
know
want
if
to
I want to
give
be.
away
I don't
the
know if I want to be giving out my secrets. I did win my league this year.
I'm a fantasy free agent this year, so I'm good for whatever. I'm figuring it out. But yeah, man, I guess anybody got any other questions, we could probably get towards wrapping this up.
I'm trying to think other big moves this year so far.
Let me look at the trades.
Teams
I'll,
that
I'll
are teams that are making splashes. I mean, the Browns signed Kenny Pickett. They're like a Super Bowl contender now, right?
yeah, most most definitely one of the better teams in the league. Travis or Tim said the Eagles are also bringing in another Australian rugby player from what I was reading. I think he's still too young. Yeah,
Was it Mailata's brother?
I'm not going to judge any decision that they make if Howie, crosses the I and or crosses the T and dots the I's. I'm gonna agree with it. So bring them all in. Let's tush push forever. Let's look at some of the, what I'm curious is some of the extensions. Um, I know we talked about that a little bit, but just going down the list here, trying to see some extensions. So DK, when he was traded to Pittsburgh, he was actually signed. He signed a 4-year, $132 million extension. Seattle also extended Ernest Jones, their inside linebacker.
Oh wow.
Josh Allen signed a mega deal, 6-year, $330 million extension with Buffalo.
Yeah, I think we all can agree that should have happened.
Right. Aaron Jones, Nick Bolton
They're
for the
not letting him
Vikings.
out of the building.
Jaron Reed from Seattle. So re-signing him and then bringing in Lawrence was solid for them. Myles Garrett, obviously. Let me look through here. Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, re-signed with Baltimore. Zach Ertz, I know you mentioned that earlier. Marcus Davenport with the Lions. Marquise Brown signed a 1-year extension with the Chiefs.
Chase Young signed a 3-year extension with the Saints.
That's pretty good there. I know that Kellen Moore had said that he wants to focus on the offensive and defensive line for them, and that's where I feel like their probably weakest points are, especially their offensive line.
I was surprised so Paulson Adebo, he was a good corner for the Saints. They actually let him walk. He signed a 3-year deal with the Giants.
That was an actual pretty big move for the Giants, although they're going to suck. But
I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to do better this year.
I think they're just going to get little boyed too much by the Commanders and the Eagles. I think them and the Cowboys are going to fight for scraps at the bottom of the division.
They signed Javon Holland. He was a good free safety out of Miami.
Yep.
It's a good move.
Definitely. Yeah, it not a whole lot of huge moves there in terms of re-signings and stuff like that. But let me looking at trades. Dallas just got today Kenneth Murray, inside linebacker from the Titans. They traded him for a 2025 sixth. And then
He's a good talent.
obviously the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the Kenny Pickett trades. Now looking at the details of the Houston and Washington trade, I think that Houston's kind of trying to move out from under some cap space issues. Laramie Tunzel was a $21.35 million cap hit. They traded him in a fourth. Now listen to this list: a 2026 second, a 2026 fourth, 25 seventh, and a 25 third. They got a haul back in terms of picks for him.
Well, you have to if you're going to take a cap hit like that.
I think they have confidence in the depth that the offensive line has in this year's draft. But yeah, looking here, Geno Smith was another one. I think he's going to finish out his career in LA or Las Vegas.
So we'll close with that. The Raiders. So the Raiders, if you didn't know, Pete Carroll came out of retirement. He is coaching the Las Vegas Raiders.
They made some big moves actually in the offseason.
Yeah, so you got Jeremy Chin. I didn't even realize they got him. That's a big signing.
Dude, Alex Kappa is another one, a perennial Pro Bowl guard.
Looks like they got Eric Stokes from Green Bay. He's a good cornerback.
Him and Lonnie Johnson from Carolina. He's another good depth piece. But yeah, they let's see what they lost. I'm kind of more curious about that because
They really didn't lose much, like no big names.
let's look here. Nate Hobbs was one that was decent. Not great though. Trevon Moorrig. I wish I could pronounce that correctly.
Kalavon Chason, he was actually a pretty decent edge rusher.
And Malcolm Kuntz, they re-signed him. So they didn't lose him.
They're not
Robert
bringing back
Blaine,
Alexander Madison. I thought he was like their starting running back.
he must be available yet. Let me look here and see who's still available from them. Previous team. Raiders.
Desmond Ritter.
Harrison Bryant. No, they
like
still might.
Never really had a chance either.
They still may re-sign some of these guys, but another one's Andres Pete. That hurts. Terrence Marshall's a free agent.
Yeah, Pete's
Turner.
Veteran tackle.
Luke Masterson. Yeah, they did lose some solid players through that, but I don't expect them to contend or do anything special. It's rebuild time for them. So
I'm surprised. Right, I'm honestly surprised that Pete Carroll came out of retirement to go into a situation like that. I mean, they don't even have a quarterback.
I know
I guess they're going to ride with Geno for now.
I don't know what his motive is for that. He's that as old as he is. Like I just could see him retiring, or I could have even seen him doing more what Belichick did and going back to college.
Maybe I don't know if he's allowed in college, is he?
They reinstated Reggie Bush. Like they gave him back his Heisman and stuff like that. So maybe.
Might be different for a head coach though.
Right.
I don't know. I'm assuming it all leads to some, money at some point, but
as I've always said, time will tell.
You have always said that.
But yeah. All right, man. You got any other points you want to make or anything to go over before next week?
No, just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. It seems like for our first show in almost 2 years, we had a pretty good turnout, and just appreciate everybody tuning in and giving their input.
Love the comments. We'll get some stuff down the pipe here for everybody to get excited about. Maybe we'll have a giveaway in a couple weeks here. Maybe I have something hidden up my sleeve, but we'll see. One thing I do want to say before next week, and I think it'll be fun. Let's start our top players, top 5 at select positions. We'll start it each week. You know what I mean? We'll go through a couple positions. Let's do quarterback, wide receiver, and running back next week. Top 5 in the NFL at each position.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
viewers, if you have those, go ahead and put your list together and compare them against ours, and we'll have some fun with that next week.
So top 5 QB, wide receiver, running back?
Yep. Okay. Top 5 at each of those 3 positions, and then we'll hash it out, see how much fun we have with that.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, without further ado, thank you, everybody. We really appreciated everybody's tuning in, and we will see you sometime in the middle of the week.
See you guys.